Okay, we're good. One moment, I need to apparently gather everyone because things happened. Um, I also need to close windows so that sounds do not play in the background. No, yes. Hey, Rabbit. Uh, waiting just a moment for Rift because my stomach. What is downloading? One moment. God damn it! I tell Riff that I'm going to stream, and he literally messages me and then leaves. I'm not gonna lie, that drives me up the wall just a bit. Also, apparently, Killing Floor 2 has put out their Halloween update, which kind of looks good? Question mark. They added a new medic weapon. They added a very, very strange medic weapon. I might actually stream to show it off. Then again, every time I stream, without fail, the game glitches in a ridiculous way. Like the time that I jumped on a stone, glitched out, and died to one of my teammates. Ugh. Urf. Blurf. Belly, belly, belly. Yep. I hate that my mouse is fucked up like this. Hey, Rift. Okay, that should be everybody. Just making sure. Oh, I need to do the thingy. Nope, nope, wrong button. Fuck. Close, goddammit. Settings. Settings. Oh, I already have the link in there. Why does no one ever tell me that I still have my link in my fucking name? Does genuinely like drive me up the wall. Okay. Hang on, I need to get Steam to stop updating things. And we will be playing a game called Winter Voices, which was released in, I believe, 13? Or was it 12? No, it was released in 010. or 2010. It is a yes, I agree. A turn-based strategy game, and it is very
The earth sinks in the waves.
Oh god. Hang on, I need to also add this thing.
The sun eclipses itself. The stars commit suicide in docile ellipses. Everything burns and everything vanishes in the strange atmosphere. The sky puts on the colors of winter roses.
No, I don't.
It's a village lost at the frontier of the invisible, swallowed by a horizon of snow, of fog, and of mountains. A last point of rally before the void, and then nothing else. Ice, wind. Miles of solitude distance this village from the last sketch of a road. It used to have a name. Everyone has forgotten it. It is only by hazard if one reaches it. Erased from all the maps by the passage of time and snow, it stretches, long garden of gray stones, at the entrance of a small valley of naked trees and frosted cascades. An old rifle, a weaver's loom. Here, no form of technology has prevailed. Here, not the steam trains nor the telegraph can arrive. Every day, hunters go to lose their way in the plains and the forests. Every day, they return. Sometimes, a house becomes available.
Okay, as you could probably hazard a guess, this is a very artsy game. No, I don't want to update that now. Also, it is a very loud game. It has a very... Yes. It has a very gorgeous art style. Like, as you can just see from this part right here, it's sounds like a terrible place to live. It's got some very nice watercolors, and it's all, like, everything is done by hand, and it's ridiculously gorgeous, and it is very, very artsy, like, but it is also a fairly good turn-based strategy. And I've been meaning to play this because it's one of those games that gets weird, so alright. I will only narrate when no one is speaking. You begin the game as a 24-year-old woman. The next 3 steps, you will be able to customize several aspects of the heroine's character. First, select an origin for your character. Read each of the 3 descriptions carefully in which origin you will choose. I need to turn down the volume again. Holy crap. This should be good enough. Very loud game. Very, very... Everything in Cuphead was done by... Yeah, and Bastion and, Transistor. I don't think I will ever stream Bastion unless I am expressly asked to repeatedly. Like, by a lot of people. But I will stream Transistor one of these days, just because I love the combat mechanics of that game. Now, I'm going with, Vola, but... Although huntresses are more commonly found in the northern regions than the southern regions of the continent, it is still a fairly uncommon profession to take, even in the northern region. The huntress is highly trained in surviving in the wilds. The huntress tends to also favor spears, bows, and rifles and are capable of finding food in the harsh environments. Intuition is the huntress's primary attribute, as it influences the huntress's ability to survive, fend off exhaustion, and achieve self-reliance. On the other hand, physique does not always influence combat. Skuld, goddess of the future, is often associated with the huntress. Skuld is the youngest of the three Norns, who are together the goddess of the Principality of the Three Rivers, where our story takes place. The most common profession for women in the Principality of the Three Rivers is the weaver. Weavers are masters of spinning fabric or wool into things such as cloth, rags, and laces. The weaver is generally cheerful and sociable and accustomed to the village's way of life. The weaver often has a tendency to daydream. Humor is the weaver's primary attribute, as it enhances the weaver's mental resistance and provides a significant number of cynical or ironic dialogue options throughout the story. Choosing the weaver reinforces a more light-hearted playstyle. Verdande? I'm probably messing that up poorly. Goddess of the Present is most often associated with the weaver. Verdande is the most important of the three Norns, who together are known as the goddesses of the Principality of the Three Rivers. Viola has very high memory, thus making the game more difficult. Select this job only if you are used to this type of game. Now, I will explain in a moment why that matters. The Vola serves as storytellers, shaman, sibyls, and prophets. They hold a central role in the informal religion that is practiced in the Principality. Few are gifted enough to be chosen and initiated into the ranks of those who are participate in the art of history and myth, and few are needed to preserve the way of life in the village. Vola are available upon request to officiate funerals and unite couples. They are... Sorry, I'm already losing breath. When they are not attending to the official duties of the Vola, the Vola devotes her time to sharing knowledge and to the occasional study of medicine. Memory is the Vola's primary attribute, as it improves how much experience is gained at the end of battles. However, memories also improves the strength of enemies that the heroine will encounter in the story. While the Vola may be the most difficult origin to start with, it can also be the most rewarding. Urd, the goddess of the past, is always associated with Vola. Urd is the oldest of the three Norns. Now, it says that it makes the enemy stronger. It doesn't. What it does is it reduces your defense, which matters later on for a few different reasons. Now, there is an achievement that, while I don't generally go for achievement hunting, I do like the achievements where it takes a lot of skill. Weaver, follow for a sarcastic option. Yeah, pretty much. Now you accept blah 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 blah. Memory. Humor. Designates the character's ability to assess and keep a given situation in perspective. Increases the character's absorption. Flat defense. Absorption reduces the damage you receive by a fixed number. Humor also opens certain humorous dialogue options. Willpower. Designates mental strength of the character. It's her ability of steadiness and mental coherence. Increases energy, HP, of the character. Whenever the character loses her energy, she also loses the fight. This attribute designates the character's recollection and use of it to her advantage. This is a double-edged attribute. This double-edged attribute increases the experience points 1 from anything in the game, but increases the damage received, thus making it more difficult. say something or other. This attribute designates the character's ability to apprehend the positive or negative factors of a situation. It increases psyche points, power, on the first turn, as well as their regeneration rate. Charisma designates social ability of the character, body language, and the ability to be treated with respect. Reduces loss of movement and psyche points. Percentile defense. Intuition. This attribute designates the ability of the character to immediately evaluate the solution to a situation, where the clues are dispersed. Often, it offers a significant bonus to the detection of traps and invisible creatures. It also increases chances of dodging attacks. Now, yes. Now we max this out. And this, because humor opens up more dialogue options, which do give you experience. Step 3. Make your person. I think that one's the one I usually go with, so yeah, that is. Yeah, this looks about right. Let's go. They fucked about for so long.
Leaning against the frozen brook, a little further out, a small house hangs over the west part of the village. A man is standing out front. Next to him, a little girl is sitting on a wooden chair. They are not speaking. From time to time, she glances at him, curious, in silence. As you're approaching them, you recognize her. She is you. You must have been 7, maybe 8. It was, most likely, a day in October. The man who is standing next to you is your father. He does not smile at you. Impassive, he stares straight ahead. With such clear blue eyes, one would think they are white. Your story begins here and now, on these motionless lips, under this cold stare, which fixes the horizon and leaves no room for compromise. Under this stare that does not seem, and has never seemed, to grant you any significance. Your story begins on a day in October. What do you have left from this moment in time? The little girl fled on a night of weariness. She disappeared in the fog many years ago, and you have never talked about it since, and she was never seen again. The man has not changed. 15 years later, lying in bed, worn out, he would still look out the window, his face turned towards the light. Even yesterday, on a day in November. You don't quite remember at which point he closed his eyes. But even afterwards, a long time afterwards, it seemed to you as if he was still looking.
Right, alright, here we go. You have been standing by your window silent for hours. The body of your father rests in the next room. Indifferent, You stare at the window. It has probably been too long since you last slept. Your head as much as your eyes are empty. End of dialogue. Oh, person. Vico. A man is speaking from the doorway. Giga? It's Vico. May I come in? I came to tell you that I will help Kalik. In a few hours we will carry your father's body to the funeral pyre. You have some time left, if you want to hold awake for him. He stays quiet for a moment, undecided, then leaves the room without a word. Game. Welcome to Winter Voices. This tutorial will help you to better navigate the game. If this is your first time playing, we highly recommend blah 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 blah. Yes, this is not my first time, but fuck it. To move, simply click on the valid spot. If it is valid, your character will move there. And try moving this way. While indoors, take notice of recesses and doorways, as they will allow you to move from room to room or leave the interior. To exit this room, click on the floor where the man was just standing a moment ago. Do exactly what it tells me. Doing the exact opposite. Throughout the game, you will receive various goals. These goals will display in the goal window. Hang on. First, let's save the game. Who is messaging me? Okay. As you are sitting, no, I'm not sitting. As you are sitting, immobile, by your father's side, it looks like the shadows gloom inside the room, more threatening, more alive. They put on a strange, almost bewitching show, that a familiar darkness which moves becomes human, metamorphosed. You are undoubtedly delirious, but it doesn't matter that much. Oh, straight into combat. Hallucination, dusk. You have entered your first battles. First of all, battles are in your mind. Yes. Let's go with that. You have entered your first battle. Battles are turn-based, and in order to win, you must meet certain goals. Escape through the door. These goals appear above the window, under your character's portrait, very dark. Shadow, dusky shadow. Pupils. Shadow pupils. And little ball. Then his spirit was dead. His body fell to the earth. The murder was consummated. The childhood came undone. They sat down, dreadful, atop walls of dust. What will the worms do with this intangible flesh? Now, for those of you questioning what the fuck is going on, what are they talking about, it becomes a lot more clear down the line. So don't necessarily worry about not understanding what's going on yet. But it does have to do with something. The worms do their work. Weariness, sleep. They stretch, they crease, they weave the years together miraculously. They mold the human shape, they shape the differences. They are close to the roots where the tree begins. They make the moonless night, they make the moonless night, and the new moon as well. They are the north and the east, they make the south and the west. Oh, they harvest the dead, all that is left to take. They will make the ancestor and the wolf, which we call Hydromel. Interesting. Ah. During battle, your movement becomes limited by your movement points, surrounded by as well as surrounding obstacles. Blue colored tiles indicate where you can move. There's a thing in the way. When you were little, you used to look out the windows in search of new images, of new lights, of useless things. What do you look for today? What is left to search for in this cold, misty landscape of boundless latitudes? He went away, taking all the light with him. He took all the light. Do you remember? Once you spent your movement points, and use your skills, you must click enter. We'll take their turns. A shadow is blocking the door, preventing your escape. There will be times that I just roll my goddamn random hands. What happened? Nothing really. I just moved, and I'm narrating. Back to game. You have just attained the repulsion skill, which enables you to push enemies back. Repels target one tile, works on friendly targets, works along a line. Repulsion's skill has a limited range. The range of the skill is indicated by purple. To cancel, simply click on an invalid position. Burp. Get out of the way. Do you find him frightening now? Yesterday he was a mountain, a demon, a threat. Today reduced to a state of refuge. What could he do? A pale, inert, always cold skeleton. His eyes dead, his body stiff. Doesn't expect anything from you any longer. There is also an achievement for crying a bunch of times. And now you leave, without any respect for the one who made you the way you are. You flee his useless corpse. You flee the sight of his empty azure circle eyes. You flee his room, where nothing holds you back. Unfazed, you forsake him to the shadows, the claws of the night. One moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Then the shadows gently evaporate, leaving you alone. Alone in the freezing room where your father's corpse lies. You leave hastily. In turn, the living room seems to come alive. Menacing shadows rise up in between the furniture. They seem to behold you, accusingly, to observe you, to scrutinize you. These phantasmic, surrealist decor intensifying your distress. the first text box was actually a a religious passage. Alone escapes through the door. Mocking shadow. The shadow shape looks vaguely female. She addresses you with a soft voice, both insidious and terrifying. Trembling, my daughter. Are you scared? What are you looking for here? What are you looking for, my daughter, in the salon void of all things? Excuse me. The voice is mocking you. Where will you go? You can't even stay up. Gigo, why do you have to be so stubborn? Your knees are quivering. You're just about to collapse. How long has it been since you last slept? I don't remember you being so translucent. You always had a sense of humor, my sweet. But it doesn't make up for the loneliness, you know. You're only avoiding the obvious. Isn't it sad to be the only one laughing at your own jokes? You have suffered damage. At the beginning of the fight, you start with a given number of energy points. If that number drops 2 or below 0, the battle ends immediately, with exceptions. At each new turn, you regain some energy. You have learned Anticipation. The skill decreases by 20% the damage the enemy you're targeting will inflict to you for 1 turn. Using Anticipation, protect yourself from the Shadow of Doubt attack. It can be used multiple times on the same turn. So I just decreased it by 60? In longer battles or battles with many enemies, it may be hard to keep track of what's happening. To help keep tabs on combat, there's a combat diary. Yeah, the first thing wasn't actually a wasn't actually gibberish. It was a religious passage. Actually, 3 of them. You finally come outside. A few seconds in the evening colds suffice to gather your spirits. Perhaps the sorrow made you lose your way. While you take a moment to breathe a little, you hear footsteps coming up towards the house. The silhouette emerging is one of a man in his 40s. You were not expecting a visitor at this hour, but talking to someone may do you some good. Now, this early part is just going to be me going off and talking to people. Because they give experience. A man approaches. His beard is blonde. His eyes are so clear blue one might think they are white. It is your father. Standing in the snow, he is fixing you. In silence. We're not afraid. We're simply surprised.
I stepped into an avalanche. It covered up my soul.
I can't see you. Get to your phone. Certain areas are larger than your current view. Now, the thing is, there's invisible stuff. Yeah, you walked over a trap. During certain battles, traps will be hidden throughout the terrain. They become visible when you trigger them. Detection, which allows you to detect him on your intuition. Some skills have cooldown period, and you will not be able to use the skill until the cooldown is over. Blah, 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 blah. Basic things that we fully understand. Also, I'd like to point out that there's no way for you not to step on a trap there.
What are you doing outside, in the cold? Are you leaving? You should leave. I am too old to leave. Only one destination remains open to me. One possible journey. I have wasted too much time. That's true. But his appearance, his memory, all which you own. He is dead. He is lying down in his bed, in the room that you fled. He has never talked to you as long as I talk to you now. I am only an image. I am only a regret.
Okay, I'm back.
That's true. I am, and isn't that what you should do?
Oh, whoops.
Don't you want to, anyway? It's in your nature. It was in your mother's nature. It is in mine.
Your father turns his eyes away from you and stares at the horizon. It appears all of a sudden that all of a sudden he is no longer interested. He stays like this for a moment, gently fades away and disappears. What is scared? For wonder. Closer. Huh. go this way. I have to go around them, don't I? Ooh, I might lose this. There we go. Oh, escape to the north. So I need to go up here, and I'm just a moron. Then hello, Mika. What happened? What's happening, my love? The bonfire is ready. The cremation will take place in less than an hour. Kalik and Vico will come and get your father. Are you ready? As you walk up the incline behind the old Vola, you reach an open space. In this early evening, the village. Excuse me. In this early evening, the villagers have gathered, dark silhouettes in the packed snow. Here, where the trees have been hacked down, the wood is meticulously stacked. The build of the funeral bonfire is rudimentary. You shiver as you glance at it. Two men from the village are carrying your father's corpse. As your eyes wander on his discolored face, your strength seems to fail you. You tremble. Your mouth is open slightly. You feel your legs collapse under you. As you fall on your knees, the voice of old Kiri? I can never get like Viking syntax correct. Raises in the cold atmosphere. The Vola begins the first passage of the Volspa, by which is an ancient and a prophetess. She will guide the font to the kingdom of the dead. Everything in silence, every god within oneself, every being is different, born from the same belly. For those who were killed and their father at their core, for those I must sing the oldest poems. His spirit is dead, his body fell to earth, the murder was consummated, the childhood came undone. They sat down, dreadful atop a wall of dust. What will the worms do with this intangible flesh? Worms do their work, weariness and sleep. They stretch, they crease, they weave the years together miraculously. They mold the human shape, they shape the differences. They're close to the roots where the tree begins. They make the moonless night and the new moon as well. They make the north and the east. They make the south and the west. They harvest the dead, and that is left to take. They will make the ancestor and the wolf, which we call Hydraman. They make the horse, and they make the tempest. They make the hollow magic and the burning desire. They are workers defined by their patient outlook, and all things they have made are flawless creations. All that can be found, all that can be grasped, all the songs of sorrow, all the crumbled towers, all the cold and salty winds, the pale, chapped hands, all the rapes and the murders, all that gives and cures. Everything was calm. Everything is battle. Thus goes the power of these man-eaters. From the house that burns for being made of straw, to the rose that is picked during a massacre. The Vola becomes silent. One can only hear the sound of the wind in the pine trees, and your heavy, numbed breathing. As a man approaches the bonfire with the torch, you do not move a muscle.
Gently, in the cold of November, your breath forms a heavy fog, which rises now and then. Eyes lost in the flames, you do not notice it. A fire, like a call to the stars. It is a strange dialogue of shadows. It is a strange fire which seems to swallow the night, which seems to swallow you whole. It is a strange fire, which projects, in the cold of November,
This is a
certain
weird thing to
particles
say
of
at a
something.
funeral. Yeah.
Regrets,
Then again,
perhaps,
half of anything that people
regrets
say at
that
funerals
fly
is
away,
weird.
burning, crackling, disappearing under a horizon barred with naked trees and bitter smoke. You do not feel anything any longer. You have forgotten your own name, little by little, and your age you do not know anymore. Everything goes away, gently vanishing in the cold of November. Everything vanishes in this fascinating fire, in this bonfire of black wood. Everything vanishes in the silent contemplation of this human shape that is laid down and blackens, that blackens in the flames, that does not look at you, that does not look at you any longer. It's fascinating, Dad, how much I have waited for this day, how much I have waited for this night of black wood and naked trees, how much I have wanted this moment of absence. It's fascinating how much nothing seems to make any sense any longer. Not my sorrow, nor my hatred. It is fascinating how much I have hoped for your death, as fiercely as I hoped for mine, and how naked and useless I feel in this moment. It is fascinating how, even arrogant and lonesome, I can still long for your gaze, your black, busted, cracked eyes that turn toward the sky and that don't look at me, and that don't look at me any longer. People pass by, but you don't hear them. Gradually, your father's silhouette crumbles, the flames abate. You remain standing, immobile, eyes lost in thought, watching the wind as it caresses the red ashes, waiting until the morning comes.
So yeah, this is a very artsy game. You are now level 2. Each battle, as well as certain actions in the game, grant you experience points. When you level up, you will earn points to increase your attributes. Right, let's save. Because this is where I can start fucking up. I mean, I could have fucked up in the battles, but... character. My mitigation is negative 75. Yep, this is going to be a hard one. It's so artsy. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't pay complete attention to the story. I just play the game. My mitigation, I'm taking 75% more damage and absorbing 1 point of damage. Right, okay. Gaining a new level, you also gain a skill point, which enables you to choose from the skill tree, or a snowflake. Yeah. So this is kind of why I, think that this is an interesting game, because holy crap, there's a lot of everything. Now, this part you can't see. We find them later on as we level. Now, it's worth noting there's not really a way to attack enemies, I don't believe. I could be wrong. Right. Willpower is increased by 50. Heal yourself. Yeah, I need to find. There's one that increases memory. Hmm. Humor. Wait a minute. Where the bunk is it? Oh, so this is a nice one. Ah. Ah, here we are. More memory. Because I want to die, apparently. You know what? I'm gonna take this. Right, okay. Cooldown reduced to... Oh, so I can just continually use it. As long as I have the power. Okay. How do I leave this? Back. You are free to explore the village, meet the villagers, blah 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 blah. Simply walk to an edge and you will move places. She does not move very fast. Just FYI. Where am I? Okay, I need to restart the stream before we continue on. Oh. Simply click on them. Alright, let me restart the stream.